Welcome back, divas, to Dressed Rehearsal, the podcast where Broadway and fashion take center stage, and we dive deep on the roles that shape us on stage and off. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jacob.
Today's guest is a true joy fest. You may know Isabelle McCalla from The Prom, Aladdin, Water for Elephants, and this year's Tony Award-winning Best Musical, Schmigadoon. Izzy leads with her heart, and in this conversation, we talk about loving yourself at every age, the great Ana Gasteyer fall heard around the world, what Chita Rivera's legacy means to her, and she even dishes a little bit about the new musical Regency Girls. Be sure to check out Isabelle in Schmigadoon, which is serving joy and silliness on a silver platter 8 times a week on Broadway at the Nederlander Theatre. Please enjoy this episode with Izzy McCalla. And welcome, Isabelle McCalla, to the podcast. Izzy, how are you?
I am thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have you. And we start every episode with, how did you get bit by the theater bug?
Ooh, I got bit by the theater bug when I was 5 years old. My mom took me to see Cats, the musical on Broadway. Not the Jellicle Ball, R.I.P.
Imagine if as a child you got to see the Jellicle Ball. It would alter brain chemistries around the world.
Yeah, I probably would have identified as bisexual way earlier if I had seen it then. But whatever. It was a late coming out for me. But when I saw hetero cats, I was obsessed. I was obsessed with the dancers, and I remember a woman who played Cassandra, the brown cat. She would, they'd crawl in the aisles, and she crawled and sat next to me, and looked up at me, and I looked down at her, and I just went, "Good kitty," and I pet this actor, and bless her, she nuzzled in and played along. And then I asked my mom to buy the VHS, and I watched it every day for a year, and I would pretend to be a different cat every single time, and I taught myself the choreography.
Right.
So I was hooked. I was ready for the show week life then.
I mean, you're looking at a sixth grade bomb ballerina at summer camp who really, really got into character.
Congratulations. I was your Demeter. That's who I wanted to be. So,
Sure. And I found a picture recently actually from after that show with my whole entire family. It's like me, my grandma, my parents, and I'm like in a face of makeup of Cat. And I'm like, we really are subjecting our families to these photos that need to go nowhere.
I love them though. I do remember that too. I remember having crazy makeup on from recitals and not wanting to take it off because at least it proved that I did it. You know what I mean? So I'd be at Friendly's eating macaroni and cheese with crazy makeup.
Right, because it's like, oh, there's a diva here and you need to know.
Exactly. Correct.
I also think that it's wild that your parents were also professional dancers. And so I'm curious, are there lessons that they shared with you growing up that only now you're like, oh, they were right?
That's a really good question. Yes, so many. They do ballroom dancing, and it's a partner dance. I remember my mom would talk a lot about how, everything, the communication in ballroom is through touch. And she always said, she was like, I feel like your father and I could have gone farther if I learned to listen better, and specifically listen through touch. Because so much it's hard to explain because it is a physical thing, but you can feel your partner pulling back and then you go with them. And traditionally the male is the leader and the female is the follower. And my mom, and I inherited this from her, is a bit of a control freak. And when you have a choreographed routine, you know what's coming and you want to perfect it and do it in the way that matters or that you think is going to be the best way, but it's not always the most organic way. And similarly to acting, I feel like the more you can surrender and release control and just listen to whatever your partner's giving you or the flow of the scene's giving you or your body's giving you, the better. And I don't think that resonated with me until I was out of college, performing in shows. I'm a very good crier. I can cry pretty easily. And I feel like I started getting hired for crying. And so I would be in these parts that are very emotional. And that's not the sole reason, but it's something I do. And it's funny, when I did Water for Elephants with Paul Nolan, who's the best actor I've ever worked with, truly hands down, the most organic, playful, free, spontaneous. You never knew what was coming. And I admired that so much in him. And I remember there was a moment when my horse had to get put down and it would I would have to cry. And it just felt, there were a couple did, like there was often days where just, I didn't want it and it felt forced, but I would just like, put on just a more choked voice and make it happen. And I just felt wrong. And I said that out loud to Paul once. I was like, I don't want to cry some days. I just don't want to do it. And he just says, so don't. And it was as simple as that. So don't. And I was like, oh, okay. And then my show completely changed because I stopped trying to hit the landmarks I thought I needed to hit. And then just see where I was getting taken. And funnily enough, it happened organically on its own because I wasn't pushing. All the way to come back to listening and surrender is going to give you a far better performance than forcing and controlling.
I was listening to Idina Menzel was interviewing Sunny Sandler about the new movie Don't Say Good Luck, which is all about like this young girl going through high school and she's in waitress and her life is kind of falling apart and like that is her outlet. And Idina was saying, she was like, yeah, sometimes you don't want to cry and sometimes holding back the tears makes the audience more emotional because they can see that like inner monologue, and giving people what they want isn't necessarily going to have the most impact every single time.
Right. Right. And also, like, it speaks specifically with crying. Nobody's thinking, I'm going to cry. I'm good. Like, in real life, we're not doing that. We're always trying to hold it back.
Right.
But you try to honor the writing and what the story is. And, like, if the writer says she cries, you're like, oh, fuck, I got to cry. And so you pull it out. But I agree with you. I am always more compelled by the people who know how to cover. And that's something that, like, as I continue on in my career, that I am investing in is the covering.
I will say also for the ballroom dancing of it all, the Dancing with the Stars resurgence is probably sweet revenge for your family of like growing up. I'm sure that maybe wasn't the coolest thing to do. And so now it's like so mainstream.
Yeah, well.
Or maybe it was. Maybe I'm insulting.
You're not insulting, you're not. It's neutral because I grew up thinking it was really cool. And because I was told every time. My parents worked in the arts. My parents were dancers. My parents were national champions.
Insane.
I got to be around creative people all the time, and I knew that was what I wanted. So it wasn't, I might not have been cool, for sure, but I didn't care.
But even to see your parents as rock stars, like in their element.
Yeah. And what's funny is that like I always thought they were cooler than they thought they were. Like, I mean, everybody's got in their own industry, there's not a hierarchy, but there are people who have more titles or more exposure or, and so I think they always, they ran in a very elite friend group, I would say. Elite for them, not for me. Like I was able to humanize all those people and be like, yeah, those are just our family friends. But for them, they were like, okay, these are the world champions that we are. And not in a way that it felt opportunist. They were never trying to be their friend just to be amidst successful people. It was just more so that because they ran with successful people, their standards were so much higher than everyone else's.
And that's also just their community of artists. And that's just like the world that they lived in. And that's who you surround yourself with.
Correct. And so like excellence was always part of my upbringing in my family, which had its own downfalls for sure. But like, I think because I was surrounded by people who were doing the best, that was cool to me. And so I didn't care. I was like, my parents dance for a living. That's cool. But I'm sure for a lot of people, there are people like, your parents are dancers? What? But I was like, yeah, my parents are dancers. That's awesome.
It's amazing. And I think it's cool now that you get to be in a capital B Broadway show that is so dance forward and that you really get to just like use every tool in your tool belt. Absolutely. And I think something very special about your Schmigadoon experience is that you won the Chita Rivera Award for Outstanding Dancer. And I'm curious, like, what Chita's legacy means to you.
I mean, she was an incredible brown woman who showed that a dancer and a woman of color can be a leading lady. She was so funny and sharp, and her stage presence, everything she did, she was just magnetic. And I did meet her once. I met her once at a gala and she was very kind and took a picture with me, but I never got to know her. But everybody I know who did know her said she was so generous. And I remember that she always said that like she came up through the ensemble and and therefore she had respect for every level of production.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something I wanted to model my career off of. Like, I wanted to know what it was like to be in every production. I believe in working my way up. Not that I don't believe in like a star turn and taking off too, but it's interesting to me that like I remember being in college and thinking specifically about Chita Rivera and thinking how she worked her way up. So I'm going to work my way up. That's what I'm going to do. And I ended up kind of doing that, even though I did have success in principal roles fairly early on. I still started in ensembles, and dance was my foundation for everything. Just to be like honored by the dance community after taking like 10 years off not dancing too was huge. I was really nervous, and like dancing is my soul. Dancing is how I express myself. It's how it was the first place I felt at home, and felt connected to something bigger than me. And the fact that people recognize that is really special. And it's kind of felt like the secret power I've had for so long. And you know, it's really funny. I do a cross in my number every day. And kind of since the Chita Rivera Award and a little bit before then, maybe since the nomination, whenever I'm feeling nervous, because there's some times when I still get nervous dancing and I'm like, oh my God, am I strong? I feel weak today. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to be on my leg. Am I going to fall? Like all these things. I asked Chita to help out. I'm like, all right, Chita, can you be with me for this moment? And like, even just that asking of her presence and of her spirit gives me strength to like power through. And it's become this little private ritual that I do. And now you know, and now people will know. But yeah, I ask for her guidance sometimes. It just gives me a little extra oomph.
You made me think of two things. One, I've heard Laura Benanti talk about when she did 9 with Chita, she had like a spine injury or something, and Chita would like leave her door open for her and like leave like any medical things, like anything she needed to like support that journey. And I think that type of like caretaking leadership comes from someone that has worked their way up and someone that like knows how hard this can be on your body, on your spirit, versus someone who just comes in, does a star turn, princess track, and then leaves.
Correct. And I always want to be a community member first and foremost. And because we literally can't do it without each other. And that can get distorted, especially in today's day and age of social media, where like we're all our own brand. But that to me has no place backstage.
Right.
Like I respect it for what it is, but like we're a company first and foremost. I don't give a shit what level, principal, ensemble, sound engineer, lighting designer, whatever. We're all a cog in the wheel. And like just because we're the visible cogs doesn't mean that we deserve more, you know? So that was also something my mom taught me early on, was that like you can't do anything without the crew. Like you are nothing without the people who work backstage. And that one I got right away though, because I put me to it. But yeah.
And I will even say, going back to like the accolades early on versus like building your community, Stephanie J. Block talked about that, like she thought she wanted like the Tony Award on her first nomination, and that's all I ever wanted. And she was saying that like it felt so much sweeter being able to look out at that audience and knowing the people that were looking back at you. And she was like, I've babysat that person's kid. Like I've gone with this person on vacation, versus like when you're brand new to the industry, it's glitz, it's glamour, it's all the people you looked up to. But to feel like, oh, these are my friends that are getting to cheer me on is a whole different ballgame.
Oh, I love that. I'm taking that with me too. That's beautiful. That is how I feel too. Like it can get award season's tough, and you play mind games with yourself, and I want to earn it. Like I remember thinking that I was like, I want to earn my first nomination. I want to earn a win. And I want to feel like people are rooting for me actively, not just, that I'm getting propped up. And to be fair, so much is like
happenstance, campaign it, it's all the things. Sure.
Yeah, it's all the things, and that is true. And I would love to feel the love, and like feel good about the work I'm doing, and feel like, well, yeah, I can look out there and be like, oh my God, we did summer stock together back in 2012, and now we're both here. That's something that's exciting. But that's actually exactly how I felt about winning the Chita Rivera alongside Max Clayton, because we both did summer stock together, at Pittsburgh Pacific Light Opera when we were 20 years old. And so to win with him specifically in the same show was just, I can't even tell you like what a dream that was, because it felt so full circle. It felt like we were true to ourselves, and also talk about somebody else who's like given himself to the theater profession and worked his ass off in the ensemble as a standby, as a principal. And he's a great leading man and a great company member. He's a friend I root for and will always root for. And I was more excited when he got Danny Belly than when I got my offer for this. Like, truly, I was just so thrilled that the world was finally getting to get to see Max Clayton.
On full display.
Yeah, on full display. And he's killing it. He's absolutely killing it.
I will say, there was recently a fall heard around the world, and this feels like the type of leadership that I would advocate for. But can you talk about what happened?
My sweet Ana Gasteyer. I love this woman so much. First of all, talk about leader. Great leader backstage. So fun, funny. When her door's open, you can always talk to her about anything. Like, she's great. You know, she knows how to have a good time, and she's very funny. And she, bless her, is in this like 50-pound dress with 40 layers of skirt. And at the end of the show, she has this big meltdown where she comes down these gazebo steps and stands center stage. And as she was stepping off the gazebo, she slipped and fell on her butt while talking. And then she tried to get up and fell down again.
Right.
Kept talking. And immediately, I was like, I clapped my hands over my face. Everybody did. Everybody had their own reaction. But when she kept going and she was standing and it was clear that she was okay, we all started laughing pretty hysterically. Like, I was laughing like this. My little Carson was in front of me, writhing against my body with laughter. And the way Ana tells it, she was like, she's in the middle of a semicircle. We're all around her. And some of us break easier than others. It's just a fact. And I'm one of them. And she looked at Richard at one point, Richard Yoder, who was on the direct opposite side of stage as me, and he was crying, laughing. She then looks at me, I'm toilet people, and I'm shaking and crying. And then she breaks, because now she's like, she made eye contact with too many of us. We're all laughing at her. She breaks, she bends over, she literally can't finish her monologue. The audience is hysterically laughing. We're all laughing on stage. Somehow she manages to pull it together, barely. I mean, we're all laughing throughout it all. And for the 1 second that we do pull it together, Sarah Chase then goes to pick her up, and then she trips on her dress again and can't get up. And so we lost it again.
It wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening. And I don't know how we got through that finale song, but somehow we managed to. And I'd never been happier in my life. I truly was like, I thought at that moment, I was like, I don't think anything can top what just happened. And then curtain call happened. And then we all go out for curtain call, and apparently Sarah turned to Alex Brightman and said, we should fall to her after bows. And he was like, got it. And so we all bow, do the company bow. They turn up stage. They immediately eat shit and fall. Anna sees it, starts laughing. And without, like, it was total high of mind. The entire company yes-anded, and we all just fell down on the floor. And it was so funny. And I mean, to like all lock in with that loving joy and loving humor. Wow. I rode that high for a good week. It will live as one of the best moments of my life.
It tells you everything about the cast too. Like, it's perfect. It really is.
That's live theater. Things go wrong and it's okay. And then and like the crying thing, the more you try to pull together, the funnier it is. It's just, yeah.
It's perfect. And I know you are in fact a prankster. Have you brought your antics to Schmigadoon?
I am a prankster. I've scared a few people,
Okay.
but I haven't gone full prank mode yet. But you know what? Thank you for reminding me. Award season's over. I've settled in. I think I can get to pranking again.
Yeah, put that in your back file.
Okay,
And speaking of award season, we need to talk about your dress for Tony's night that I think was so good.
Oh, thanks.
So what was like the inspiration behind it? And also just like, what did that moment feel like hearing Schmigadoon Best Musical?
Oh my God. So that dress, fun fact, I am a big fan of, do you know Pickle?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's a Pickle dress. I went to Pickle 2 days before. Listen, I've done the stylist thing, and I think it's so valuable. I did it for opening night. My incredible friend Bethany Tessark styled me for opening night of Schmigadoon. I love those dresses, but it's expensive. It's real expensive. So when I can just go to Pickle and rent that gorgeous gown for $25, I'm going to do that.
Of course.
I'm going to rent from somebody's rich closet and say, thank you so much for letting me live in this skin for a night. And I felt so glamorous in it. And it was like brown and sleek and sparkly and felt like a goddess for $25. So I won everything. And we won Best Musical. So I felt great in it. And then that moment also top. This year has been a great year. That was just the collective exultation and joy that erupted from us all was just out of this world. Like I've never won anything, or I won the Chita Rivera award like a couple weeks for that, but like I'd never been a part of a show that won a Tony Award, and so that Best Musical really felt like such a collective win, and we were like already jazzed for Cinco and our orchestrators for winning, but that was just. It's nice when the nice guys win one. Like that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like Ted Lasso winning. Like it felt like the good show that is hopeful and doesn't have to spend all of the money and relies on a really good script and an original story and freaking great performers at the top of their craft and designers. Like it's just a show where everything came together so cohesively, and it's a show that celebrates exactly what this art form is. And to be recognized and honored for that, to be like, yeah, you guys did that, and it's worthy of recognition, was unreal. It was so joyous. It was pure ecstasy. And then I got so drunk, and I've never earned a hangover more, you know?
Correct. And I will say something I think that's really cool about Schmigadoon is that one day high schools are going to rock this show.
Rock it. They're going to rock it.
And
who did it? He was like, I want high schools to be able to do this.
And like how special to then see the thing that you've created. It's going to bring so many kids into theater, I think.
I think it will too. And I think what's great about it, because it's a show that pays homage to all these Golden Age musicals, they're going to have to go to the original show to understand the reference. So they're going to get an education just by doing the show. And there are so many roles and so many opportunities for bit parts and performers and young budding comics to grow. I am thrilled for it. I'm so excited for students to eventually take on this show.
It reminds me of like Something Rotten came out when I was in high school, and like the rabbit hole that sends you on, it's the same energy.
It's exactly that. Such a great show too.
Of like, how many can I catch? How much can I lean in? And like, let's just have a joy bomb and let it be a joy bomb.
Exactly.
Something I also loved that you're recently a part of was the Broadway cover series, where you picked an old Vogue cover that inspired your own shoot. One, how did this collaboration come together? And like, how did it feel to be a cover girl?
Oh my God. Insane. So Benji Rivera and I have known each other I got back since we met at Wichita in summer stock when we were babies, like 19 years old. So it's been over 12 years since we've known each other, and we've been in each other's orbits, and I shot with him before, and I think he's such an inquisitive and curious photographer, and is so playful and really is good at looking at who's in front of him, seeing the energy they're giving, and curating an experience to fit that. And so I just got a message from him on Instagram randomly one day, and he explained the concept of his Vogue project, that he wanted to get into more editorial work, and he had this coffee table book that's inspiring him. And he said, I want you to pick a cover that represents who you think you are and how you wish the industry would see you too, and we'll come up with a really fun shoot inspired by that. And even I would have said yes to him without the explanation. Like if he said, do you want to? Yes. Like, yes. He's that good of a person. He's that good of a photographer. And I always leave a session with him feeling like myself and empowered. And I've laughed a lot too. And then I picked this cover. It was May 15th, 1956. It's this portrait of a woman. It almost looks illustrated. Like it's a woman eating an orange slice. And I loved how direct her gaze was. I loved that she kind of looked naked. I loved that she was undressing the viewer.
Mm.
And there was such power there that I was like, it's power and it's whimsical. So I was like, that's kind of the vibe I'm trying to bring into this next chapter of my life. Let's see what that does. And he blew it out of the park. I mean, like, and the collaboration, it was totally a collaboration from all ends. The designer, I mean, the stylist works with Yves Saint Laurent. I was in a sweater that was $50,000. Yeah. I've never been felt so expensive in my life, and also felt like I am just the rack for this. Like, it was so interesting being like helping the art. Like, headshots are for me, but this was for him and for all of us. Like, it really did feel like what shape do you need me to make so that we can get the shot? Like, what are we going for collectively? That was so fun. And then the pictures turned out incredible. And I felt so seen and so powerful. And it really felt like, oh, I'm here. I've arrived. And not arrived in the way that like I'm getting awards from people and I've arrived in my own body, in my own self. And I feel that and I can see it now. Like, I think what really struck me about the photos is that like I'm not trying anymore. Like, I'm not trying to be the it girl. It's just I am. And not like it girl for everybody else, but just like I'm good. I'm comfy in my skin. I love my life. I'm good at what I do. I love my friends. I don't need right now, which is nice.
An internal grounding.
Yeah, totally.
And also the range from $25 pickle to $50,000 YSL. Like, come on.
She's a Gemini. She can do it all.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think it is really cool to think that like years from now, you're going to look at that picture and know exactly how you came to be in your skin. And like it feels like a mile marker of this moment.
It really does. And I kind of had a big shift on my birthday this year. I turned 33 and it all of a sudden I recognized this trust within myself that I hadn't had before. And those pictures feel like honor that. And I'm curious, like 10 years, 20 years down the line, looking back at these photos, I'm curious who she's going to be then. Like, what am I going to know then that I'm going to look back at these pictures and be like, oh, baby girl, you know what I mean? Or am I going to be like, fuck yeah, that's when you chose yourself. That's when you found yourself. And I still think I will feel that. And I'm going to have so much more perspective. And so I'm really looking forward to continuing to age and continuing to get old. And like talk about like, also that was something, a part of the shot that I loved. And forgive me for this little tangent, but I feel like in fashion in this day and age, you know, there's a lot of plastic surgery and there's a lot of filters on social media. And I am getting to the point where a lot of people around me are doing, which is fine. Like I literally am like, you do you, it is beautiful, whatever you want to do. I've always wanted to age naturally and I want to hold on to that as long as I will never say never, but at this moment in time, I haven't done anything and I don't intend to. And I have these smile lines that are present. And for some time, they used to make me feel really insecure because I was like, oh my God, this ages me. This is, I don't have the young skin that I once had. But then I look at pictures of my father and my grandmother. And this is the face of my father and my grandmother. And they have these lines. And they had these lines early too. And like, I love that. So why shouldn't I love this on me? And he didn't edit them out in the pictures, which would make me feel way worse if they were edited out and they're on full display and beautiful. And I'm like, right.
Feel earned.
Yeah, they're earned. And I think he said that to me. It was like, how beautiful to have evidence of your joy in your life. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Because we're going to have the negative self-talk and that's awful. But like, I really do hope that I get to watch myself age. I really do hope I get to see my face change and I sit through the discomfort of that and learn to embrace it and love it and take care of it and hydrate and do all the things. But I want to proudly and visibly be me in my own skin so that younger girls who look like me can also feel confident to age and don't feel like they have to change themselves to be successful or to be beautiful.
Totally.
As of now, that's my intention. I reserve the right to change my mind, obviously, but like,
Sure.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful way that like his creative process and project that he just wanted to make something that he wished existed and like lit up his own fire that he was trying to like get back in touch with, or even just like drive his career in a different direction, then lit up someone else. And like that transfer of creative spirit is so beautiful.
Huge. It's unreal. I love it.
And I think the fact that you're in this moment, like spreading so much joy. We also had your pal Ryan Redmond on talking about that same just being comfortable in your skin. And so I just want to tease a little bit about Regency Girls because I'm very excited about it. And I'm sure you can't tell us much.
No, can't tell you anything.
But what do you think the impact of having such joyful storytelling in your life has like translated into your world?
That's a good question. You know, for a long time, I used to say I only want to do good work with good people. I stole that from Celia Keenan Bolger. I did not come up with that, I will say. And when I was younger, I wanted to do like really dramatic work. I wanted to be considered a serious actor, which I am. But I have luckily been a part of these like joyous comedy shows, like The Prom, like Schmigadoon, like Regency Girls, that are totally original and about the human experience and about really specific things. And I feel very lucky in my life that my career has been about love, like love and autonomy. And what I love about Regency Girls is it is a show that is completely original, that is a female-led caper comedy. It's the four, myself, Ryan Redmond, Christina Lobato, and Kate Rockwell as very distinct, chaotic, curious, funny women in 1810 England who are dealing with what is a woman's place in society and how far do our rights over our own body go. And I think comedy is really helpful to look at potentially politicized issues because it sneaks into your brain. Like we get you with a laugh and then all of a sudden you're thinking about like, oh, is my view on a woman's right to choose really about control? Is it about me? Like, what is this? And so, you know, our experience in San Diego is that like, I think something this is an approximation, I believe, but I believe it's 93% of people on exit surveys, 93% of people either liked or loved Regency Girls.
Okay, stats.
And 10% didn't, and did you know that 90% of people believe the earth is round, which means that a higher percentage of people a higher percentage of people believe the earth is flat than disliked Regency Girls. Just saying.
Put it on a poster.
Oh, put it on a poster. There was also like somebody left the show and said, "Oh my God, that was so much fun. I just wish it wasn't about abortion," which I love. I'm also like, put it on a poster because that's funny to me. I love the subversive nature of our show. And I think what's funny is like people think they're going to get Bridgerton, but they get Bridesmaids. And it's very disarming and so funny, and then sneaks up on you because it's about something real. And it's about these people who are just trying to assert their own lives without the world telling them what they should be. And I'm really excited for it. I think it's got a place, and I think it could do really magical things for people. Because I think if I had this show when I was a teenager, I would A, not feel alone, and B, would be inspired to want to become literally everything my heart desired.
And you know what? I think if we were to put Izzy McCalla on a poster, it's giving range because your brand is crying and your brand is these joy bombs. Your brand is $25 pickle and your brand is $50,000 YSL.
Yes! Correct.
And that's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. You know what? I'm stealing that. That's great.
Yeah, we'll copyright it. We'll make it happen.
Sounds good.
Well, this has been such a treat. I can't thank you enough for joining me.
Yes, thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
And that's our show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to Dressed Rehearsal. If you love theater and fashion as much as we do, invite another diva to join the community. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all the places. See you next time.